it has continued to score high. But how much the populace is well informed about government's giant strides remains the question. This gathering of economic experts, journalists and information and communication managers is aimed at bridging the gap.
By relating directly with those who purvey economic news, they will be able to break down in better form some of the things being done by government for the general population to understand what efforts are being put in place.
The first session focused on the road to economic recovery with attention on resource mobilization to fund the national economic recovery, presented by Dr. Ayo Teribe, and best practices in economic communications by Ray Echebiri.
Must tell the Nigerian people the programs that are ongoing, the policies, the projects that are ongoing, and how they will impact on the economy. Because without that, nobody will even have any hope that anything will happen anytime soon.
In Nigeria, and that requires that Nigerian people understand better government economic policies and also have a better grasp of what the government's agenda is.
Other areas of interest are the second Presidential Economic Communications Workshop centered on challenges in the ease in doing business and developments in the traditional and what was described as the new media. Cliff Ayozie, NTA News.
In fulfillment of its commitment to increasing power supply in the country and further tapping into the gas-to-power value chain, the federal government has signed the Nigeria Immigration Headquarters to get a first-hand brief on the activities of the service. The man at the helm of affairs, Mohammed Babandide, who reiterated his commitment to bringing change and improving efficiency in the operations of the service, pointed out the need to better facilitate the control after entry of persons into the country, which has been neglected over time.
Control after entry. Many people can enter our territories without passing through our borders. So we need to invest in surveillance, in monitoring, in punishing abuses.
Chairman of the House Committee, while promising a speedy action of the legislature to improve the activities of the Immigration Service, encouraged the agency to assume its rightful place in the security metrics of the country.
As made as amendments were added before the committee. When the time comes to be notified, to prepare a position, we are going to use that window to effect any change you want the committee to do for you.
The House Committee also admonished the immigration boss to remain committed in reforming the service, curbing corruption and maintaining justice and fairness. Plans are underway to return IDPs in various camps in Adamawa State, mostly from Yobe and Borno, to their original states and communities in the shortest time possible. As the Adamawa State government fine-tunes the arrangement, more than 500 bags of rice and other relief items have been presented to them by National Logistics Committee on relief items distribution to IDPs. Correspondent Shogun Lawale, just back from Yola, reports.
With the team that is working in this camp to see that these goods are properly delivered.
It is the second phase of the distribution of items from customs warehouses to IDPs directly, as instructed by President Buhari, as part of humanitarian support for the victims of insurgency. 7 local government areas of Adamawa affected by Boko Haram are beneficiaries, including both informal and formal camps like Maikoi camp, venue of the official presentation.
I'm there in the kitchen to open it all, to put it on the fire. Nobody take it to go out with it.
Right now we can say it, we are assuring the people that what we see here is safe and the food is going to the right people.
While Adamawa State government fine-tunes arrangements with Yobe and Borno State's government on the return of IDPs to their various states, continuous reliance on humanitarian support may not sustain the IDPs, whereas skills acquired through various intergovernment and international agencies in areas of soap making, knitting, tailoring, while in camp, remain a better option, especially for the women.
But what we plead the federal government of Nigeria to do is to help us with some startup.
The ones that you see here are like 99.9
Yobe and Borno content. And working with the Borno state government and the Yobe state government, we hope that we can facilitate for these people to move back to their villages.
A total of 5,421 bags of rice, bales of textile materials, and 600 cans of vegetable oil were donated to the IDPs in Adamawa State. Shagun Lawole, NTA News.
And to security development matters now
available from computer technology. These, he said, range from solutions to keeping cities safe by the use of CCTV cameras, as well as keeping enterprises safe from hackers. Mr. Manko also emphasized the need for the private sector to support the public sector in providing cyber security. In Abuja, Edina Justice, NTA News.
The Public Complaints Commission says it is poised to take the public complaint initiative to all nooks and crannies of the country. This revelation was made by the Chief Commissioner of the agency, Emmanuel Ogbile, when he received the World Bank delegation, which was on a fact-finding mission to anti-corruption agencies. Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia reports.
The World Bank team has been in Nigeria to assess the country's anti-corruption drive towards identifying areas of assistance. Although the delegation met the officials behind closed doors, the Chief Commissioner of the agency, Mr. Emmanuel Ogbile, afterwards told newsmen that their discussion was mutually beneficial.
Basically, what we talked about had to do with areas of cooperation and collaboration to support what the World Bank could do. How do we support Nigeria's anti-corruption family in terms of pushing the struggle forward?
Mr. Ogbile also identified various areas the World Bank and other sister agencies can be of value to the Commission through advocacy, capacity building and strategy development. Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia, NTA News.
If the nation's prisons are to be successfully decongested, more organizations must have to come up with legal aid schemes to assist indigent persons charged with criminal offenses. This is the position of participants at the 3rd annual NYSC Legal Officers and NYSC Core Lawyers Workshop held at the NYSC Orientation Camp in Kefi, Nasarawa State. Femi Okeo reports.
While the NYSC continues to create impact in terms of its youth development to national growth, its impact in the area of justice and the decongestion of prison through its legal aid scheme draws particular attention from the justice sector in Nigeria. Complementing the federal government's legal aid program through the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria, the NYSC, since inception, has provided the bedrock of lawyers that have been used to argue cases and represent indigent persons charged for criminal offenses. While commending this 4-decade-long service by the NYSC, Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Sule Zakari Kazauri, called for the strengthening of the legal aid scheme.
This workshop, therefore, is organized to consolidate on the gains so far made. The forum provides the opportunity to evaluate our programs for future improvement.
Professor Maxwell Gidado of the Faculty of Law, Nasarawa State University, spoke on how the Administration of Criminal Justice Act can be used to decongest prisons.
The problem with Nigerians is not with the law, but how that law is implemented. But good enough, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 has provisions that fortify even the provisions of the Constitution.
The core lawyers we have now have been doing cases in court. They've been visiting prisons.
The 2 previous NYSC legal officers and core lawyers workshops were held in Kogi and Niger States in 2014 and 2015. Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Still on legal matters, the reconstituted 3-man appeal panel holding Democratic Party and People's Democratic Party and Ondo State pre-election matters has adjourned sitting till Monday. The panel, headed by Justice Ibrahim Salawa, also has Justice Ignatius Aguba and George Mbaba. Dele Atumbi reports.
At its first sitting in Abuja, 7 appeal cases came up for mention. All the cases bordered on who is the rightful leadership of the People's Democratic Party and the substitution of the name of Jimo Ibrahim with that of Iyitayo Jegede as the PDP candidate for Ondo State governorship election. In the case of Iyitayo Jegede versus B. Ikboroi and 9 others, counsel to Iyitayo Jegede Wole Olanipekun, who led other Leonard Sik, asked the court for accelerated hearing. Counsel to B. Ikboroi, Bello Nwafo, informed the appeal panel that he has filed a motion on notice at the Supreme Court on the matter, hence the panel lacks jurisdiction to hear the appeal. When the case of PDP versus B. Ikboroi came for mention, counsel to Ahmed Mekarifi, Ahmed Raji, pleaded with the court for quick dispensation of the matter. Though the case was adjourned to Monday, the bench in an obiter advised the PDP to put its house in order rather than bothering the court on its internal affairs. The reconstitution of the 3-man appeal panel followed the self-disqualification of the Justice Jume Sanki's panel sequel to a bribery allegation. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, this is NTA International News from Nigeria's capital city of Abuja. The news will continue in just a moment after the break. Please stay tuned.
Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make me go. Supporting so let it change begin from within. Look at you, Ogeruola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me.
Thanks for being there. Nomadic teachers from 6 states in the Northwest Zone have benefited from a series of workshops designed to build their capacity. The training prepares the teachers to key into the new thinking on how to improve nomadic education in Nigeria. Lena Obi reports.
The nomadic education is said to have fallen short of objectives due to numerous challenges in implementation of the system. As Nigeria steps up efforts to improve basic education and reduce the number of out-of-school children from the streets, the National Commission on Nomadic Education strategy is to improve teacher quality and efficiency. This, the Commission believes, will return more children of the nomads to school. At the North Central Zone of Training Workshop by the Commission in Mina, the Executive Secretary, Professor Bashir Usman, urged the teachers to key into the new drive to improve learning in their schools. Other speakers at the workshop expressed concerns over the conditions in the nomadic schools and welcomes the efforts to address such challenges. Some of the participants who expressed happiness over the development pledged to extend the knowledge to their colleagues that are not part of the training.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed heartfelt condolences to the family of Ajayi and the entire Adenifere, the Pan-Yoruba socio-political group, on the passage of one of its oldest surviving members, Sir Olinawun Ajayi, at age 91. The president also commiserates with the government and people of Ogun State on the demise of their illustrious son, author, legal practitioner, elder statesman and nationalist. President Buhari pays tribute to Pa Ajayi's inspirational and dedicated work to entrench and strengthen democracy in Nigeria through his passionate engagement in Afenifere, the National Democratic Coalition, and the Patriots. President Buhari urges all who mourn Pa Ajayi to emulate his lifelong commitment to dialogue, democracy, and development, which are key ingredients for national growth. He prays that God will comfort Pa Ajayi's family and grant the soul of the departed eternal rest. In the same vein, the Nigerian Labour Congress said it is deeply saddened by the sudden death of Comrade Henry Odugala, General Secretary of the Radio, Television and Theatre Arts Workers Union, RETAU. The NLC described Henry Odugala as a cerebral unionist with deep convictions and capacity for spontaneity, which he deployed with flourish at public fora. NLC General Secretary Dr. Peter Ozoeson in a statement said Labour would miss Odugala, who was a strong believer in the culture and internal governance in unions as a solution to corruption and dictatorship. NLC said Odugala's death is a blow not only to his union, RETAU, or the National Labour Congress, but the entire Labour movement, having gone with his humility and with which he cultivated the young and the old, the high and the mighty, often with an outstretched hand and a smile. Let's join Chukunonso Wabweze for stories in the business world.
Welcome to Business Segments. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria indicates that the country's gross official reserves declined by $580 million in October on a 30-day moving average basis to $24.0 billion. The monthly average movement has been an outflow of $490 million.
Sigh of relief as the newly appointed Information Minister Negeri Lencho says he is committed to developing a vibrant and free media in the country. Mr. Negeri was appointed early this week to deal with a recent wave of anti-government protests in a country being accused of locking up journalists arbitrarily. Rights group Reporters Without Borders ranks Ethiopia 142 out of 180 countries in its Press Freedom Index. A Ugandan High Court has ruled that the more than 60 primary schools run by Bridge International, a U.S. enterprise which offers cheap but qualitative education, be closed. The schools were accused of poor sanitation, inadequate infrastructure, and non-compliance to national curriculum. Bridge International has rejected the ruling and threatens to appeal the decision. Once more, Liberia has been cut off from the internet by hackers in recurrent attacks. The latest was Thursday when the hackers flooded the cable link with data, making net access intermittent. Researchers say the hackers tried different ways to use massive networks to hijack machines and overwhelm high-value targets. Iraqi government forces have advanced into another suburb of Mosul. Saddam is the northern city held for more than 2 years by Islamic State group. The government and Kurdish special force, backed by a U.S. offensive, says it now has 90% of the area under its control. Nancy Godiangunehu, NTA News.
And to sports now, Super Falcons and Falconers clash in a pre-tournament friendly match as Usain Bolt sets to race in Australia for the first time. Ayodeji Makinde tells us more in Sports Update.
Chioma Wogu scored in the 43rd minute as the Super Falcons beat Falconets by a lone goal in a friendly match Thursday at the Abuja National Stadium training pitch. Both teams are preparing for separate tournaments, with the Super Falcons looking to clinch a record 8th Africa Women's Championship title in Cameroon, while the Falconets are billed to compete in this year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Papua New Guinea.
We're just trying to work together as a group so that we can get a team that will represent the country, but we're in the process right now.
I got flashes of brilliance, so I think that when we get to the competitions proper, they are going to do well.
A 2-day workshop for Federal Capital Territory Schools Games Masters and Mistresses ended Thursday at the Abuja National Stadium with over 200 participants. Organized by the Kids and Play After School Sports Initiative, the workshop, which brainstormed on 7 core areas including first aid treatment, is aimed at equipping participants with the requisite knowledge in athletics.
2017, we will have 3,000 athletes in the FCT, trained, and they are continuing to be trained in every location in each area council of the FCT.
Usain Bolt is set to compete and lead a team in the new Nitro Athletics concept, which kicks off with a 3-night series next February in Melbourne, Australia. Bolt, who won the 100 and 200 meter sprint and the 4x100 meters relay gold medals at the Beijing, London and Rio Olympics, attended the launch in Melbourne to explain a format which features a mix of power, endurance and team events in sprints,
distance and field disciplines. The Jamaican will reportedly receive $1 million for his involvement in the series. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
We now take a quick check on Saturday's weather outlook for some Nigerian and world cities. And now to end the news, the main points again. President Muhammadu this Friday meets with a Senate President, Bukola Saraki behind closed doors. You also heard that more relief items have been presented to internally displaced persons in Yola camp by the National Logistics Committee. And that's the much we have for you from NTA International Newsroom on this hour. Thank you very much for always being there. I am Justin Benjamin.
NTA International News.